week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Coming to you from Uncharacteristic Studios. In this episode, I'm raising awareness of childhood cancer. Nearly 16,000 children a year are diagnosed with cancer, and 25% of them usually don't survive. I hate that. I hate when anyone has cancer, but I hate even more when a child has cancer. I just don't believe that parents have to bury their children. But one day, it's coming, folks. One day, no one will have to battle cancer, because it's just like I always say: adversity is temporary. Nothing lasts forever, and I don't think cancer is going to last forever either. In this episode, I made this Childhood Cancer Awareness CHT. This is the shield. This is some like metallic gold vinyl, and inside are some symbols that represent boys and girls. And then here, right here on the sleeve, I also have a ribbon with a boy on one side and a girl on the other. If I personally know some children who have battled cancer and beaten it. I personally know some children who are currently battling cancer, and I've known the parents of some children who have battled cancer and are no longer with us. And I also I have some friends who had cancer when they were younger. They beat it, and they're living very successful lives today. And this episode is for everyone who I just named, because let's just face it, folks, cancer sucks. And one day there will be a cure for all forms of cancer. I guarantee it. Alright, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. Alright, last week's episode I asked, what's the Thing's battle cry for the Fantastic Four? Well, the correct answer, it's clobbering time! And 13 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their names have been entered in the drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So, the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Vanessa Kirk from Homer, Louisiana. So congratulations, Vanessa. We're going to sell a free Comic Hero tee. Alright, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is a Superman question. What year did the first Superman movie premiere? Everyone who answers correctly will be in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode of the show. So, I gotta ask, any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I didn't thrive in. Questions I will survive in. Questions.
Alright, I have 3 questions for this week, and the first one is from Mandy Hooter from Medford, Oregon. She asked, have you ever watched the movie Hancock? If so, do you remember the scene where Hancock is shaving his beard with his fingernails? Is that how Superman shaves his beard? Well, Mandy, no. That is not. The way Superman shaves it is that he holds some kind of plate up to his face, and he uses a very light dose of heat vision. And the heat vision reflects off the plate onto his face and burns off any facial hair that he has. So no. And honestly, if he did, if there was an issue of Superman where he would do that, I don't think I'd ever read that book again. All right, next question is from James Gunner, the owner of Southern Realms Comics Against the Rust in Louisiana. And this is also a Superman question. He asks, where did Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster get the inspiration behind Superman? Well, James, that's a very good question. When they were in, I don't know whether it was Siegel or Shuster, but one of them was very impressed with the book John Carter of Mars from Edgar Rice Burroughs. Now, in this book, John Carter was a soldier during the Civil War, and he somehow ended up on the planet Mars. Now, because of the planet's density, somehow he didn't die. Instead, he ended up with these powers that he didn't even have on Earth. And I guess when Siegel and Schuster got together, they discussed that, and they thought it would be a great idea to, instead of having a human being with powers on another planet, they would have an alien from a fictitious planet come to Earth and get powers via the yellow sun. Excuse me. And that's where it came from, and honestly, that's genius. That is pure genius. And so really it like, again, it came from John Carter of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. All right, and the last question comes from April Hooks from Camden, Arkansas. She asked, what is a series that you could read over and over again? Well, April, that's a very good question, because it's actually the previous volume of Superman. Now, this volume only lasted, I want to say, 43 issues, but it was 43 great issues. Of course, in this one, it mainly centers around Superman, Lois, and their son John. And John becomes Superboy in this series, and it deals with him being a father, and with Superman being a father, and the dynamic between him and John. I mean, when I think of that, I think of hashtag marriage goals, hashtag parent goals, because Superman, the way that he was depicted by both Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason in that entire series, he wasn't a perfect parent, but he was a great parent nonetheless. And I mean, heck, after I'm done with this show, I may go and read the entire series, or read the first few issues of it rather, because I mean, like I said, it was a great book, and I wouldn't mind reading that over and over again. So, the previous volume of Superman. All right, that's it for any questions. If you have any questions you want to ask me, contact info is down there. You can message me if you're friends with me on social media, or if you follow me on social media. I have no regrets for bringing this segment back, and keep the questions coming, folks. All right, now Curtis Harris from Warren, Ohio has requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, and this one features a Man of Armor going up against a sinister alien robot. Representing Marvel, we have Iron Man. And representing Hasbro and IDW, we have Megatron. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call
The Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Iron Man versus Megatron. Iron Man possesses genius-level intellect and is a proficient scientist and engineer. With his powered armored suit, he possesses superhuman strength and durability, supersonic flight, energy repulsor and missile projection, regenerative life support, and a technopathic link to all robotics. Megatron is a highly intelligent and powerful battlefield commander using a combination of brute force, military knowledge, mercilessness, and terror. He has traditionally demonstrated the ability to transform himself from robot mode to a Walther P-38 9mm pistol. He can also transform into an army tank. His most powerful weapon is his armored mountain fusion cannon, which is capable of destroying a large amount of space. Who will win? Get ready for a high-flying laser trading brawl. Megatron would ask,
"What makes you believe you stand a chance against me, flesh creature?"
Iron Man would reply, "Sticks and stones, Calvin Johnson. Sticks and stones." Megatron would angrily reply,
"Who is Calvin Johnson?"
Iron Man replies, "Someone who didn't last very long in the NFL. You're not going to last very long either." The two would trade a combination of hand-to-hand tactics and laser blasts for minutes on end. Megatron then transforms into an army tank and pins down Iron Man. He then calls Soundwave and transforms into a Walther P-38 9mm pistol. Just as Soundwave is about to pull the trigger, Iron Man telepathically commands Soundwave to drop the pistol. Megatron transforms back to his robotic form and yells,
Decepticons, attack!
The Decepticons go after Iron Man, but are thwarted when the latter technopathically commands them all except Starscream and Soundwave to spontaneously combust. Iron Man grabs Megatron's cannon blast and blasts him to Kingdom Come. Iron Man then looks at Soundwave and Starscream and says, I spared you two because you could be of some use to me. Now I want you to say, All Hail Iron Man. Soundwave says,
All hail Iron Man.
Starscream yells,
What makes you think I'll answer to you, flesh creature?
Iron Man then destroys Starscream with Megatron's cannon and asks Soundwave, how did Megatron ever put up with that jerk? Soundwave replies,
I do not know.
Iron Man wins. That concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that fight. If you have fight requests for future episodes, contact info is down there. Alright, it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright, there are going to be two things I'm going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and the first one is Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Now, there have been different photos that have been appearing on social media and throughout the internet of Joaquin Phoenix dressed as the Joker. For those of y'all that haven't seen it, take a look. Now, honestly, I kind of see what DC is doing. What they're doing is that they're now keep in mind in the comics, in the previous volume of Justice League, it was revealed to Batman that there were 3 characters masquerading as the Joker, and I think this might be the second one. And by looking at his, I really can't tell. I can tell you which Joker it is. It's not the Jack Napier Joker. I still believe that Joker was the one that was played by Jared Leto in Suicide Squad. Now the makeup, on the other hand, I mean the getup that he wore, that's one thing, but the makeup, that's not the Joker. I mean that doesn't even come close. The Joker, he's a clown that doesn't look like a clown. That looks like a clown. And I don't know. And it's going to be part of a standalone Joker movie. I'm still a little undecided about whether I want to go see that or not. But when more info comes out, I'll let y'all know. All right, now the second thing, and this actually really, I have to go back to something that happened a few weeks ago. It was rumored that Henry Cavill was no longer going to play the role of Superman in any DC movies. And that's only because he's taken on different roles in different films, and he's also been rumored to be the next Bond. But then we see he posts something on Twitter or Instagram or wherever I think it was Twitter, where he's wearing a Kryptonite shirt and he's slowly holding up a Superman action figure, then bringing it back down. And while this is going on, the Superman theme from John Williams is playing. Now, I hope that the rumor of him no longer playing Superman is just that. I just hope it's a rumor. But that brings me to what I'm going to talk about. It has been said that Michael B. Jordan wants to play Superman in an upcoming film. Now, before anyone gets upset about something, let me explain something to y'all. one of the good things that came from DC's New 52 universe was the fact that there were other universes out there that spawned from it. There was an Earth 23. Now in this Earth, Superman is not only a black man, he's also the president of the United States. And I can understand why Michael B. Jordan would want to play this role. I'm not now. I think he'd be okay with. I think he'd be okay with this role. My only concern is what he's going to do with Marvel, because after all, he did play the role of Eric Killmonger in Black Panther, and he had a small role that nobody really saw in Avengers Infinity War, where he played Eric Killmonger. Eric Killmonger again. I think he'd be great as Superman, but I don't know if he'd be great as a Superman for Earth 23, but I don't know how in the world he's going to be able to do that and then honor his contract with Disney and Marvel. He'll find a way to work it out. I hope. Alright, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Alright, first up is Edge of Spider-Geddon number 3. X-Men Gold number 36. West Coast Avengers number 2. Venom number 6. Teen Titans number 22. Multiple Man number 4. Justice League number 8. The Immortal Hulk number 6. Green Lanterns number 55. Avengers number 8. Aquaman number 40. Suicide Squad number 45. The Life of Captain Marvel number 3. Green Lanterns Annual number 1. Captain America Annual number 1. The Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1. Return of Wolverine number 1. And finally, Thor number 5. Alright, that's 18, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 8,928. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. What year did the first Superman movie premiere? Everyone who answers correctly has been entered in the drawing for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Vanessa Kirk from Homer, Louisiana, who won a free tee in this week's episode. I raise all these causes, and I do so for a reason, because I see all these people, with different cancers, with these diseases, with these disorders, and I wouldn't feel right if I just didn't say anything, if I just didn't acknowledge it, because these are people. Because there are some people that they have cancer, it doesn't have them, and they always have a smile on their face. But then there are a lot of folks that when they have cancer, they have these diseases or different disorders, they feel helpless. They feel like there's no hope. Well, I'm here to let all these people know that let these people know that there is hope. You can get through this. There is light on the other side of that tunnel. Just don't give up. Just keep fighting. You'll get there. All right, here's the road ahead for the show. Next week's episode 231, will be the 5th anniversary episode. Really looking forward to it. Half a decade, and God willing, I hope I do this for a lot longer than 5 years. Very excited about it, about this 5th anniversary episode, and hope you are too. Episode 232, going to raise awareness of breast cancer. Episode 233, first off, October is Bullying Prevention Month. In episode 233, I'm going to raise awareness of bullying, because bullying is wrong, and there are way too many children who are hurting themselves, who are taking their own lives because they're bullying, and nothing's being done about it. There needs to be something done about it, because you're not doing a service to young people when you tell them that they need to grow a pair or need to grow a spine. There are students, there are young people that when somebody bullies them, they can't just let it go through one ear and out the other. They can't just let it roll off their shoulders. I mean, they're young people hurt. I mean, these kids are hurting. I mean, they're hurting, and then they want to do bodily harm to themselves. They want to take their own lives, only because not just because the bullying won't stop, but because no one won't stop it for them. And then episode 234, that will be for that I'm raising awareness of domestic violence. I mean, it's something that's still continuing now, and you can't stay silent. I mean, if you see a domestic dispute between people, you need to say something. Don't think that just because you're not in it, that doesn't mean that you can't say something about it, because that's a horrible thing. There have been so many deaths and murders as a result of domestic violence, and this needs to stop, because there are men murdering. There are husbands murdering their wives. There are wives murdering their husbands. There are husbands hurting their wives, and there are wives hurting their husbands. And this is if you marry someone, you need to love them for better or for worse, and not just for better. And then also you can't be a controlling prick either. Yeah, that's right, I said it. And then episode 235, Halloween. Alright, I'm Victor Nunley on the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 231, the 5th anniversary episode. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero.